Rick Roth from the Ink Kitchen. Welcome. Shop Talks are free information that we have. You can also check out inkkitchen.com with more free information. This is sponsored by the Impressions Show, now called Impressions, not ISS anymore. And Haynes very generously is supporting this, and Hirsch. And I have with me my friend and someone I admire greatly, Michelle Moxley, who's the Innovation Director at M&R. The Innovation Director at M&R. And she's going to talk about water-based special effects, and she's going to talk a little bit about hybrid printing, which is screen printing and digital combination. And she has samples to show, and
you're going to be Vanna, right?
Yes, I will be Vanna, or we will get a Vanna. So we'll talk a little, and then questions, and then Michelle will also be around afterwards to answer for shy people that don't want to publicly ask questions.
You guys are going to recognize some of these because they're that old. So the first thing I'm going to show is some boards of water-based special effects that we did. They're about 10 years old, so excuse the dog hair. I have a dog. Actually, this one's first. So this is water-based HD, and this is an HD that we formulated figuring out how to print water-based HD. So this is about 10 years ago. All the high solid water-based companies have really good HDs now. So I encourage you, if you're testing them, to try them all because they all have different formulations. After we developed this one and printed with it, we developed that one. That one.
For those of you that
so you can pass those out.
For those of you that are new, HD is high density ink.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So some people say, is that puff? No, puff kind of is like a cake and it's round. High density ink is more like putting ink in a concrete form.
Yeah. So this one was a little bit finer detail, and then so it let us do all these really tiny Jordan logos on that logo. So if you look at it, you can see all the different logos from the years. And then this one had Asapi paper applied to it. So that's SAPPI, and it's a release paper that you press into an ink, and it leaves a pattern. So it left a snakeskin pattern on the HD. And then this one is a glass caviar, Murano glass caviar with a glitter flake inside of it. So this is an HD adhesive, and then the glass caviar is applied to the surface with a glitter flake so it sparkles.
Like just through a screen or dropped on?
So the HD adhesive is printed, and then the caviar is put on by hand, so it's rolled onto it. This one is so that is a white Jumpman on a white shirt. It has a reflective on it, so if you take a flash photograph, you'll see an elephant pattern, and then if you put a glow-in-the-dark light on it, you'll see a laser logo pattern, and then it has a pearl. So it does 3 different effects under different lights.
For real.
This is a reflective, and it's a silver reflective with a gray underneath. So the gray is Michael Jordan's face, and it's printed in lines, and then the reflective is in lines over the top. So if you take a flash photograph, you'll see a solid reflection, but then without the flash, you see his image.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have a phone with flash, you should take a picture. It's pretty cool.
This is, I'm gonna hold that one up. So that is a metallic gold ink of the Adidas logo, and then on the surface there's a color changing gold ink. So if you shine a light at it, the golds, you just see one gold, and then as you move it around, you see 2 golds.
Which are better than one.
Yeah, it's like a pirate bounty. This one is metallic with silicone on the surface, so it has 2 different colors of metallic simulated process, and then there's a silicone droplet glued to the surface to make it look like water. This is a simulated process with suedes and puffs, and they're printed with varying shades of gray to make it look like athletic tape. So it was supposed to look like athletic tape in the shape of the Adidas logo, and it gets lighter as it gets towards the surface. And that one has a texture to it too, if you feel it. Most of the ones we've passed around so far are from production. So these were actually ran in production or sold. This is also a color changing pearl. This has, so color changing pearl shifts from one color to another as you turn it. It has a flake inside that will do the color shift. So this has two different color shifting pearls on it. One is shiny and one is matte. The purple one is matte and then the sapphire is shiny. So you get two different tones plus the color shift.
Where do you get that stuff?
That's Virus. Thank you.
Virus is a brand of ink.
Yeah. This is another example of that. So this is a metallic gold, and then around the Jumpman up here is a color shifting pearl printed on top of gold. Generally, you print color shifting pearls on top of black, shiny ink, and then you get a really strong shift. But you can put them on top of white, and they'll make like a ghosting color, or you can put them on top of like metallic gold, and you'll get some different tones that way. Now we're switching out of production. So some of these are just samples. The glass caviar was just samples. That wasn't a production either. So this is a 3-color foil. 2 of the foils were done inline. One with an inline foiling machine called the HQ1. One with a hot head, so it was applied by hand and then heat pressed on. And then the third foil was done post. So the gold, the dark gold is the HQ1, the light gold is the hothead, and then the third one was another gold out here. I thought it was purple. I know there's 3 on there, I made it. This print, this is Cinderella, and it has a halftone adhesive applied to the surface of the print. The prints have foil resist inside, just a little bit, and then the halftone adhesive is been foiled. So if you shine a light on it, you'll see her dress sparkle because there's a halftone foil. It's not a solid foil, so you get the full effect of what's underneath, and then you get the sparkle on top. I like that print.
Crows and people like shiny things. You know that?
Yeah, you gotta do this. So this is a thermochromic, so you gotta get it warm. These are the characters from the Disney movie that were emotions, and if you get it warm, they turn to the color of themselves. Yeah, there you go. So there's about 5 or 6 different thermochromic inks on here that turn black when they're cold, and then they turn to the color when they're warm. This one. Everything's water-based. I didn't bring any plastisol.
The question was, is it plastisol or water-based?
Yeah.
All water-based so far.
All water-based. So now we're going to switch into hybrid and water-based special effects. So this is printed hybrid. We have a hoodie palette for the hybrid, so you can print them, and the hoodie will fall down and not get in the way of the digital print head. So the colors that you see...
What's a hybrid?
It's DTG and screen together. So it's
in the same machine.
Screen printing, and then there's a digital print head that applies a digital color to the surface of the ink. Basically what you do is print an underbase, you put the digital into it, and then you print a top coat. You can print any kind of special effect with it, so that's what I'm going to show you. This is a digitally printed hybrid printed hoodie. So this one has, all the colors are applied by digital, but it has a sparkle diamond effect, which is the blue, which you'll see sparkle if you shine a light on it. And it has a thermochromic blue, so if you go outside, it changes colors.
Is that all?
Yes. Okay. This is a discharge print on hybrid. So this has a discharge underbase. Then you have a puff that's printed in the clouds. So you'll feel those and they stick out a little bit. And then you have the digital print on the top, a top coat, and then there's a metallic gold for the coins. There's a QR code on this shirt that was printed by the digital hybrid. So if you scan it, you'll see a video of this shirt being printed. And Glenn Carlis, that works at M&R, played the horn, so you hear the Mario Brothers theme song too. That's a special effect, right?
That is a real special effect.
All right, now you gotta help.
All right.
This one. This one. Okay. So this is a hybrid print. All of these were printed at the same time. You have different digital images, but then the special effect on the surfaces changed. So that one is a color shifting pearl with one of the digital images. That's a metallic gold with a sparkle flake inside with a different digital image. This one is golden diamond with a third digital image. I actually have 9 different ones that we printed within a couple of hours, just changing the special effect to ink color. Let me pass those around, they feel nice. This one has a different sparkle gold. One of them is cut with clear. That's one way to get a sparkle flake to really shine. If it is too overpowering or it looks kind of flat, you can cut it with a clear and spread the flake out, and it'll get a little bit more sparkly. That one. So these are the 2 digital images without a top effect, but these do have a gel underneath, a black gel that they're printed on top of, which is adding to the way they feel and the stretch. And then this one has a blue diamond effect on it and a glow, or it's called Lumina. It's a black light ink. So if you put it under a black light, it'll turn blue. Bluer, yeah. That one. Those are the washed. I washed it. So this one was printed on hybrid. This has an inline foil, and then the digital it has a white tie coat, and then the digital spray, and then it has a top coat, another diamond effect, like a sparkle. It has 25 different variations, and I actually brought some. If you guys want to take one, you're welcome to it. And then we did a wash test. Let me show you that. So there's those. The gold? No, it's green. Yeah. So I washed it 11 times in cold water. One of them had double stroke on the top coat, and one of them had single stroke on the top coat. The foil didn't come off at all. Some of the digital starts to fade away after a bit, but it's not too bad for inline foil. I actually think that it's stronger than post foil because you're putting a top coat over the top of it, so it actually helps protect it in the wash. The only thing that comes off is the digital ink. If you use a clear as your tie coat, you can keep it on really well, but I used a white. So this is a new development that we just did, and we're still working on it. We've been matting out the background a little bit. He has a puff underneath of his skin. I hand painted a screen so I could get all the textures of his skin. If you shine a light on it, you really can see the textures. Of the puff come out. So if you shine your phone light on it, you'll see it all in his eyes. There's a lot of texture. But if you look straight on at it, it kind of disappears, which I thought was really interesting. But you can feel it underneath. So it has a gel layer and then a puff, and then there's a clear, and then the digital goes on top, and then there's a top coat. And then we added a pearl to some of his whiskers, which I don't know if this one has that. But yeah. So this print is 2 whites, the digital hybrid, a top coat, and then a metallic gold. And the metallic gold was separated as simulated process, so it integrates really well into the illustration. So if you shine the light on it, you'll see the gold in some of the areas, like where it says "Long Live the King" and in his crown and in his necklace. And everybody likes tacos and chihuahuas, so. So I have shown this before. This is the $100 tee. I scanned a $100 bill. The computer kicked me out for counterfeiting, and I figured out a way to get it in there. So we printed this. It has a color-changing reflective on the surface. So if you take a flash photograph, you'll see the security detailing. You can look under a loop and read all the security detailing across the bottom. We made a customized version of this for Anthony Corsano when he retired from Gildan. But the cool thing that changed about the last time I presented this shirt is we wrote an article about it, and I took a photograph of the shirt, and the computer kicked me out for counterfeiting again.
Which is high praise indeed, actually.
Yes.
And you're probably in the wrong industry.
Everybody asked me to print that smaller with the back. I'm not doing that. So this was one of the first skin tone that we tried on the hybrid. So this is a clear, a white, the digital, a top coat, and a metallic gold. So 4 screens plus digital. And we tried to attempt a long fade off onto shirt. So this was the first time we tried to do that, which was pretty successful. And the hybrid's really good at unique skin tones. Screen printing that can be kind of challenging because people can appear too dark, too yellow, too red. Colors can run away on you, but with hybrid you can hit any skin tone really. I'm going too fast.
It's good.
Okay, so I have shown this one before, but it's worth revisiting. So each of these prints has a discharge, and then each of them has a special effect. That one has a metallic gold, and this one has the diamond glass. The hair is the discharge. The face, the flower in the hair, the flower hanging down, which is called a shadare, and the neck piece are all digital. They have a shared underbase. So both pieces of this art have the same underbase, but those images each have a data set. So there was about 10 different flowers. She had about 3 faces. She had, I think, about 15. There was a bunch of neck pieces, some of the shadare. In total, there was 50 pieces of data. The computer creates all the variations, and we're able to print 7,000 individual shirts on hybrid by changing the special effect color. So with digital, you would be making 7,000 pieces of artwork, or at least enough variations to create 7,000, which would be more than 50. With hybrid, because you can change the special effect or change the color of the screen printing ink, you can compound the amount of variations and make one of a kind on a mass production scale.
So do you have the other variations somewhere, like a website people could see them?
Yeah, there's photographs that we've put into some articles. So you can go to, on Instagram, I'm Notorious R&D. You can go to M&R's Instagram. I think it links through to that. So anything that's the digital squeegee will show you some examples, and there's some photographs of all the variations printed.
So, questions? Your minds are too boggled to ask questions, I can tell. Oh. The question was, can I have a dragonfly? And the answer was yes. The question was, if you're applying different levels of the different foils.
Foils, yeah. For the 3-color foil that we did in line, it was adhesive, hothead, adhesive HQ1, which is an inline foiling machine. And it peels too. And then it was adhesive, and then hand apply foil, hothead, and then you had to hand remove it, and then dryer, and then, remove it, third adhesive, dryer, and then you put it onto the heat press. So yeah, you had to print the adhesives in between each one. If you don't want to do that, you have to make the foil first, which is a lot harder to do. and probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Is most of the water-based ink virus was the question.
The production stuff that I showed at the beginning is all virus. That was my production. The hybrid stuff is a mix. So we have Matsui, virus, Aquarius, Magna, CHT. Those are the 5 in the sample set that I brought. I think I have about 12 or 16 in the list right now, so yeah.
Other questions?
That's an. It's.
So the question is on the Dragonfly. How exactly was that printed again?
That's a digital hybrid print on top of inline foil. So there's a foil applied to the surface of the fabric, a clear layer, the digital, and then a top coat.
Does it have to be a special foil to accept the digital print?
You have to have a catching layer for the digital print. So the foil is just acting as the surface, and the digital hybrid actually loves foil because it's a very paper-like surface, so it makes the digital print very defined. So you just have to put something in between. In this case, I used a white tie coat, which was probably not the best idea, but usually I put a clear.
Can you explain the tie coat idea?
So it's basically you're printing an underbase like you do on a normal screen printing, and then instead of printing your colors, you put down some layer that's wet, and then you spray digital into that wet layer. We call it a tie coat because it's tying the color to the shirt, and you put that, basically it's a base, and then you spray the digital into that. We use clear a lot. If you walk over to the M&R booth, we're using clear today as a tie coat. There's also some whites that you can use as a tie coat, so that one has a white tie coat. You can use special effects as a tie coat as well. It just takes a little practice, but if you check it out over there, it's clear, and then you spray color into it, and then you put a top coat on it. The colors come out of the digital. So if you think of it like in your, for the tie coat. You wouldn't have to do that though, because you could put the yellow through the digital and then it would, yeah. You could try though, I've tried with fluorescents, but you know, it's hybrid, so you can try anything you'd like. The way you think about it is in your ink room, you're taking a base, you're putting in a pigment, and you're adding a binder. With the hybrid, you're just separating those 3 things and doing it on your press. So you're printing a base, spraying in your pigment, and topping it with a binder.
The question was about, oops. Ow! The question was about,
I can repeat it.
Okay, go ahead.
So the question is why we're using a clear tie coat instead of spraying directly into the white. On the hybrid right now in the M&R booth, we're printing white and we're printing a clear tie coat, and then we're printing digital, and then we have a top coat. There's several reasons why you might use a clear over a white. In that case, I like to use clear because my blacks end up getting richer and more deep, as opposed to spraying them into a white where they kind of gray out. I can get really saturated color. That eagle has a lot of shadow and kind of tone to it, so I wanted to pull the white back a little bit, and the clear lets the darker colors kind of overlap.
Other questions? All right, how about a hand for Michelle Moxley?